think so. Hello, everyone. What's going on? Gonna hit some warm-ups, make sure we're angled here good. Let everybody hops in. And then, I think we're rolling. Then we'll rock and roll. So this volume is on there, okay?
Let's check. Give us a little check.
Mic check, 1, 2. Wow. You get that okay?
Yep.
That look good over here?
25 people watching. Throw some.
Straight leg. Right leg. More than I like to.
Tell them how much you've been hitting today.
Yeah, a lot of ball strength for me. I'm usually good for about 10 to 20 swings per day. When we do our YouTube videos, today was like 100. So I'll give it like another minute, and then if you guys want to start rolling in questions.
Tell us, Scott Alexander from LA. Hello.
Hello. Alexander from LA. What's up?
Yeah, Scott Alexander.
Scott Alexander.
About 39 people.
All right, guys, if you guys want to, hey, welcome. Monday's episode for All Things Golf. If you guys have any questions, start firing them away, and we will we'll start chatting here whenever you guys are ready.
And if it's not questions or just something they want to talk to you about.
Yeah, or just anything. It doesn't need to be a question. Just, hey, I really like that red thing you're wearing. Beard looks good. Swing looks terrible. Whatever. Whatever you want.
Ready for some questions?
Ready for some questions.
It's Mr. Scott, who said hi from LA, wants to know, how do you hit a pitch and chip like the pros, the kind that sit and stop quickly?
Yeah, so Scott, right?
Scott.
How do you hit a pitch and chip like the pros, the kinds that spin and sit quickly? Well, one thing you have to keep in mind when you're hitting chips and pitches is the wedge that you're using. Like I got this little used Titleist one, and the golf ball that you're using is going to have a lot to do with that. So when you watch pros go play, you have to factor in that the wedge they're hitting in the grooves is like perfect. It's a brand new club. They probably get like a new one every like week or two or maybe monthly. The ball that they're playing has never been hit before, right? So if you have a wedge that you've had for a month or 3 months or 6 months or a year or 5 years, and you don't clean it all the time, and you have a ball that you use multiple times, that's not going to spin the same as a tour player. And then also in terms of the courses they play, when you play courses that have really tight fairways and the greens are faster, the spin you get on that will be more significant than if you play like a muni course like where we're at, right? The ball's not going to spin the same. So a lot of that has to do with the actual club and the ball. And of course, there's some technique involved with clipping the ball perfectly to get the spin on it. It's really all about contact and maximum friction. So not allowing any grass, to get between the ball and hitting the ball perfectly. If you watch the chipping videos we put out, that goes through all the technique pieces that I would look at for that, but it's really a lot of equipment that has to do with that.
Staying in the chipping and pitching theme, coincidentally, Anthony's asking, can you discuss the foot pressure for a chip pitch shot, how that differs from full swing?
Yeah, so Anthony asked foot pressure for chipping versus full swing. Full swing, I would set up 50 on my left, 50 on my right. I would shift pressure into my right foot to the top of the swing, like pretty drastically, maybe 70% pressure, not body mass. I would then shift left in towards my heel pretty early, and then push up on that. With a chip shot, I would keep it about 50-50, maybe 60 on my front leg. I would be at least 60, maybe even a little bit more 60 forward during my backswing, and then even a little bit more on follow through. So from this side, I can't chip one from face on, but from here, I start 60, stay 60, and finish probably a little bit more. It's like a stock level chipping pitch shot.
Cool.
Stay chip and roll back to full swing.
I think we're going to go back to full swing. We're going to do a little mental first.
Okay.
What's your best tips on bringing the driving range to the course?
Best tips on bringing the driving range to the course is make the driving range more like the course. It's the simple answer. The more complicated answer is you have to practice like you play. So when you're on the course, and people always say, well, I hit it really good on the range, and then I don't hit it good on the course. And I say, well, what do you do on the range? Well, I hit 10 sand wedges from the same spot to the same target, and then I hit 27 irons from from the same spot to the same target, and I really get in the groove and I hit it good. And I say, okay, what do you do when you go play? I hit one driver, I wait 5 minutes, then I hit an 8-iron from a weird lie, and then I wait 5 minutes, and then I hit a chip, and then I hit another chip, and then I hit a couple putts, and then I wait 5 minutes and I'm on a tee. It's a completely different ballgame. So I would make your practice more like you play. If you watch our perfect practice routine video we put out, I split things up into 25-ball sets and said the last 25 balls of your practice, you should make it exactly course-like, switching clubs or distances on every single shot, doing at least half of your full shot routine. Like when I'm on the range, here's how I would hit, right? And here's how I hit the portion. I would hit a shot, and then before I hit the next one, at minimum, I come back behind the ball, reset like I'm gonna hit, I walk in like I would when I play, take my setup, look at the target, back to the ball, look at the target, and then I go. So I would do at least that in between. The answers make the range like the course.
2 just comments. William saying greetings from Toronto, Canada.
William, greetings from Toronto. Thank you, man. Thanks for being here. Greetings from Phillipsburg, New
And
Jersey.
I think this is Kevin Monahan says, thanks
Yeah.
for your swing analysis this week. Loved your insight. And then he says, do this, guys. It's awesome. They probably can't hear me, so
Kevin, thanks, man. Post up about the swing analysis and recommends doing them. Yeah, I would recommend, I appreciate that. I would recommend all of you guys at minimum either doing an online swing analysis or checking out CogornoGolf.com where you can post up a swing. So I've been telling you guys this all the time, right? If I can see your swing, I can help you a lot more, but you got to pony up some cash.
say hi to Alejandro from Argentina.
Alejandro, what's up, man?
Steve's asking, how's the golf weather down here? Really?
The golf weather is shitty, man. We're excited. We're looking at some places in Florida for next winter, 2019. So if any of you guys watching, I don't know, have like a mansion on the beach and you want to let us rent it for, you know, we'll trade golf lessons or something, that's cool too.
I'm a
If
good
you're on
cook.
like the east coast of Florida and or have any suggestions for winter places next winter in Florida, we're looking to go down. So yeah, in case you guys have any places you want to rent out.
William is asking, what's your best tip for hitting the ball square?
Best tip for hitting the ball square, that's a tough one. Depends on what you mean by square. Depends on where you're coming from. Hitting the ball and compressing it as much as you can. The first thing I would always do is make sure your club face is square or closed enough to your path. That could be grip, wrist conditions, form, rotation.
Yeah, and Mark has to clarify because he's saying, hi from England, how loose are your arms and hands? Like when?
Yeah, Mark, how loose are your arms and hands? What I would say, and I would answer it as if you're meaning from like a dress. I have really good players who grip the club really tight, and I have really good players who grip the club really loose. So I don't think there's one answer to that. I would say the one thing to keep in mind is you can have your hands pretty tight would be okay, but you want loose arms. Does that make sense? You want your forearms to be more loose, even if you have a tight grip. A tight grip and tight arms, like a real lock, straight lead arm like this, is usually bad news. But you can have a tighter grip if you have loose arms.
Ryan saying he'd like to hear how you hit a real low stinger, especially with ball position and weight distribution through the swing with this shot.
Yeah, so Ryan asked about a stinger. So what I would do with a stinger, a couple things to keep in mind is when I'm trying to hit the ball as low as possible, which is a stinger, there's two main pieces that I want to control in terms of the delivery of the club. The first is dynamic loft. So the more loft I have on the club, the higher the ball goes. The less loft I have on the club, the lower the ball goes. Okay, so I want to have as little loft as humanly possible. Notice what happens to the shaft when I do that. Does it lean towards the target, forward, or does it lean away from it? Obviously, it leans towards the target. So I want to have low dynamic loft and angle of attack. The more I hit down on the ball, the lower it's going to launch. The more I sweep it off the ground or hit up, the higher it's going to launch. So two things for a stinger. One, as low dynamic loft as possible. Two, hit down as much as possible. What could I do at my setup to do that? The first thing would be move the ball back in my stance. I took a normal, here's a form, right? Which I hit at 290, 210. I would say this would be my normal setup. It would be something like this. It would be about here. Stinger, I'd move the ball back, just back of middle. I'd probably get a little closer to the ball and grip down a little and add a little bit more weight forward. If I was going to hit on a tree. So here's my normal, 50-50 my weight, ball a little bit more forward, a little more back, grip down, hands a little bit more forward. And I'm getting exactly how forward I am here and here and really increase my angle of attack. So usually when I hit a stinger, I do more of a draw pattern with it. But the more down you hit, technically, the more you got to shift your swing direction left. That's maybe a little more confidence. So ball back, handle wiggling forward. And I'm trying to hit low like that, and that one like 300.
Straight.
Low
Straight.
center.
Samuel's saying he plays in Cumbria, England, and it's fairly wet and damp at this time of year. Find I'm digging in and hitting heavy. Any ideas?
So playing in England where it's wet, hitting heavy, yeah, that's just tough. Like part of that's when it's wet. If you watch like a pro event and watch how often they hit fat shots when it's wet versus when it's firm, you'll see they hit more fat shots when it's wet than it's firm. So like that's going to happen. You have to ensure ball first contact. Now, what do you have? Now, I don't know if you're talking full swing or chipping, whatever, but if you're doing full swing and you're hitting too many fat shots, you need to move your low point forward. I would need to see your swing to see why that might be happening. Some things I would look for would be, do you turn enough? Ooh, that lighting is pretty good. You're dark. You're not dark. To have my look more forward, I would want to rotate more, or as much as I could. I would potentially want to have more lateral if I couldn't rotate enough. Doing things to move my hand more forward. But I'd really like to see your swing to say why that's happening for you in particular, but it's going to happen more when it's wet. Maybe move the ball back in your stance a little bit, right? Just different things you can do.
Jeff is asking, what do you think about using a pop putting stroke?
What I think about using a pop putting stroke, I do not like it. And I do not like it specifically because of speed control issues. Are there guys like Brandt Snedeker who have a pop stroke who are good? Absolutely. Would I change Brandt Snedeker's putting stroke? Of course not. But if I had someone coming in and I had to choose, I would make it more neutral. Usually, good putters, in terms of speed control, that I've seen measurements on, have the putter, this is the ball, travel back. You ever heard back and through the same length? You ever heard that before? So that's fairly true. A lot of times good speed putters actually take it back farther and through shorter. So for example, I'm just going to make up some numbers here, no science behind this. Maybe I'm hitting a putt if I'm a good speed control putter, I take it back 12 inches, I take it through only 10, right? So there's actually a slight deceleration motion as the putter hits the ball, and there's a collision through it. When I see people pop strokes, the reason I don't like it is because they go too short back and they go too fast through. So there's too much acceleration, so they can't control the speed. I'm more okay with that on short putts and or greens that are very slow if you're playing muni courses, but if you're playing faster undulated greens with a pop stroke, speed control gets very difficult. So I don't like that.
You can tell one Rob Line Pencil. We'll get to his question later.
Rob Line Pencil, I will never get to your question.
Pookie is asking,
yes.
How tilted do your shoulders need to be at the top of the backswing?
Tilted shoulders at the swing. When you take your address position, like so, like this, I'm going to insert this way, with a short iron, let's say a wedge, I don't want hardly any shoulder tilt. With a shortish iron, I want like a couple degrees of shoulder tilt. With a driver, I want more, like 6, 7, 8. So 8 iron is like 3. So the goal with that is whatever tilt I start with here, I want to get back to that tilt about at last parallel. So whatever I start with here, I know you said the other, but I'm going this way first. If I start with 3 degrees of tilt like this, by the time I get to last parallel, I want to be back 3 degrees. How much shoulder tilt do I need here like this? The general idea is to turn your shoulders at about a right angle to your spine angle. So this is my spine isn't really working a straight line, it's going to be curved. But if you were to kind of imagine this as my spine angle, I want to tilt my shoulders 90 degrees to that plane is a loose margin.
I'm going to read this one verbatim from David.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, stud.
Hey, stud, good. Good man.
Help the penny drop with the hand path. Exit left, club face square, more neutral path. Beard is great. Shout out from the home of golf.
Yeah, thank you. That was David?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a beautiful comment. I like that.
Okay.
You guys were just watching hit football? Go ahead.
Oh, part 2 from Pookie.
Yeah.
Also, how do you drill in left upper arm rotation and follow through?
How do you drill in left upper
Arm rotation
and follow through? I would put an object underneath your arm and your chest. So maybe just take the glove. If you watch we did a video on fixing the chicken wing a couple months ago. And basically my point was that if you keep your left arm, upper left arm, bicep, upper left arm on your side, and you learn how to train with that, okay, you've got no choice but to have to get rid of that chicken wing. And with that, I said, hey, add some arm rotation, okay? What I would do if you want to add more arm rotation is feel a little connection here like this. Keep your chest and your pec turning through and your arm is automatically going to have some normal supination with it, about an equal amount to how much you turn your body. What I don't want to have happen is your body stops and then your arm just turns. It's okay to feel that in the beginning, but really it should be on your chest and turning with you. Now, depending upon how much you want to exaggerate, if I thought you really needed supination, if you said, hey, I've been slicing the ball for 40 years, I would supinate the hell out of it and get you to hook the ball big time. And I would start you like this. And I would go, okay, you need to go here and go like this. Yeah, well, isn't that too much rotation? And isn't that bad? Yes, but you're gonna hit hooks. You're gonna learn how to not hit slices. You're gonna play good golf like this first. I would go here. I would probably maintain a little bow and roll the hell out of it. Like logo to the ground, face to the ground and follow through, and learn how to hit hooks first, and then add body rotation and neutralizer. And when you start to turn with it, it'll look more like that.
Jim is asking, more important in the backswing, vertical plane or more depth?
More important to the backswing, vertical plane or more depth? Both. Sorry. It depends on where you're at, what I'd rather you do, but what I would typically see most good players do in terms of depth is get the butt of the club somewhere in line with the middle part of the right foot or the heel. So here would be about in terms of depth. You drew a straight line down the butt of the club, see it in line with the heel or the middle part of the foot. So I want depth. Usually, loosely speaking, the more depth you have going back, the more it encourages body rotation. The more you go vertical, the less you need to rotate. That's a kind of general stock rule. Height of the arms, right? If you came in and you look like this, then height of the arms is more important than depth, and you need to feel like Bubba Watson. If you come in like Bubba Watson and you're not actually Bubba Watson in the tournaments, then you need to feel more depth. So it really matters, depends on where you're coming from.
Alex is asking, any mental advice for a Sunday golfer who's unable to decelerate the arms coming from the top? I studied everything about that and I achieve it to swing nicely without a ball. It's quite different at impact. So.
Yeah, Alex, I'm not going to answer that specific thing about decelling the arms because that's one of those two. I have to see your swing. I don't know if you guys are seeing there's a common theme that I could help you most. If I saw your swing in some way, shape, or form. But in terms of transferring it, if you're doing it without a ball, doing it without a ball really just doesn't count. That's like me giving a speech at home in front of the mirror versus speaking in front of 10,000 people, where I always use the crude example of if I stood, I could easily make myself take a step forward, pick up my right foot, take a step forward, no problem, no consequence to that. Now, if I was standing on the edge of a building and I said, Eric, take a step forward, my brain would never let me do that. Why would it not? Because there's a negative consequence associated. Same thing happens with a golf ball. When you do a practice swing, there's no consequence. Your brain lets you do whatever you want. When you hit, it has links to negative consequences. It doesn't let you do whatever you want. So that would be, again, where like I would say, hey, make your practice more like you play. Give yourself enough feedback in your practice. No one swings with the ball there like they do without the ball. So in terms of the specific deceleration part, I don't know that I can answer that very well.
Martin's comment is winter in California.
Martin Chuck?
No, Martin Jones.
Yeah, California, that's a little, I'm not a big flyer, so that might be a little far, but if there's a mansion on the beach in California instead of Florida, we'll do that too.
Mark is saying, are you hitting with your right hand or just pulling through the ball while rotating? Maybe referring back to what you were doing before? I don't know.
Are you hitting with your right hand or just pulling through the ball? So this is another one. When you guys ask right hand versus left hand questions, understand there is no right or wrong. I've had several people who would feel completely right-handed all the way through, and they are great. Several people who would feel left-handed. If we went down a PGA Tour range, or we went down and we asked Jack Nicklaus, what do you feel? And we asked Arnold Palmer, what did he feel? Jack Nicklaus might say all left side feels. Arnold Palmer might say all right side feels, and they could be doing the same thing. Which one's right or wrong? Neither. So I don't say that to be like, duck out of the answer. The answer is there is no right or wrong. If you have specific swing flaws, I might encourage you to feel certain things based on that. But in terms of a stock motion, really either one is fine.
Jeff is asking, what is the sweet spot on the driver face? I heard it is not geometric center.
Yeah, it depends on who you talk to with that. I am not a big club guy, nor a big club fitter, nor do I'm not a big club guy, big swing guy. But a lot of times, and this is the past, I'm actually going to get a club fitting on March 11th down at Club Champion. And we're going to do a video about that. We might do some giveaways and things around that. But I'll ask them more when I'm down there to clarify. My understanding is that depending upon who makes the club, the sweet spot typically if you hit a little bit higher than normal, and a lot of them will actually shift it either a little bit towards the heel of the club. A lot of them too understand, and then same with toe. You can hit some toe shots and get some ball speed readings that are higher than normal and some smash factors that are higher than normal, because golf club manufacturers understand that a lot of you guys don't hit the middle of the face, right? So if you can make the sweet spot as big as possible, or not this actual sweet spot, because the actual sweet spot might be the size of like a pin, but the area where it works well. But I'll ask them more when I go down to Club Champion, and see what they say about it.
Any tips on keeping the swing compact and synchronized?
Yes. How I would keep a swing compact and synchronized is one of two things. To me, compact and synchronized means connection. So probably the best way that I've seen do that is just this little Tour Striker smart ball like this that Martin Chuck has. And we should have a link in the description or any of the videos in the past we have on it. We just did a video on connection. You'll see the link there. I would put the ball in. It's a little too short for me, but you put it down here, just underneath your elbows, and learn to make some swings with that in, and you'll feel how much you have to use your body in space. This thing can correct like 10 different swing flaws in one. So to me, syncing things up means connection. I would watch our latest YouTube video that we did on connection, which was this ball and an object underneath your right arm. Either one of those would be good.
Okay, we're going back to wedge. Big wedge theme tonight. How do you hit a high spinning, low ball flight wedge shot?
How do you hit a high spinning, low flight?
Low ball flight wedge shot.
So schools of thought here, different ways to do it. How I would do that would be one, the biggest way to do that in terms of hitting it low and having more spin would be to hit the ball lower on the club face on purpose. So really clipping the ball very low on the club face will launch the ball lower and spin more. Now, wanting to hit that shot where it's low and spins high is a high skill shot, which means the margin of error is very low. There is no way to do it that's like a really easy, no fail way to do it, versus how I normally recommend using the bounce more and hitting it a little bit higher, a little bit softer, not so higher, but softer, and it doesn't spin as much. The problem with doing that way usually is if you really want to clip one, the ball's going to be back, the handle's going to be forward, and your low point needs to be perfect. Now, can you do that and hit a lower trajectory and clip it and spin? Yeah, 100% I can do that. I would do the same things I would do with a full swing to hit it lower, which would be ball back, lower the dynamic loft, and hit more down on it. So angle more down, lower loft. I would try and clip it on the bottom of the face to add spin and nick it perfect. And just understand that there's not a lot of margin of error there for that.
We got a greetings from London. Any plans for more on-course vlogs?
Yes. So I think in this 2019, the reality is we're just learning as we go. In terms of like we started this process by just filming lessons and then turned it into like more tippy style videos. And now that's kind of still where we're at. I'd like for us to do, and Mary and I talk about doing more live lessons or portions of live lessons, more on-course vlogs, more vlog style videos along with it as we go. So definitely want to do more on-course and more actual live lesson stuff too, yeah. And let us know what would you guys like to actually see. Is that you guys want to see, obviously it'll always be like the tip style information stuff, but I think more vlog style, more day in the life, more like lessons and stuff in with that would be a nice compliment, but you guys let us know.
Robert's asking, can you discuss the proper sequence of weight shift and hip turn? Does weight shift to left side occur first, or do they happen at the same time?
Weight shift and hip turn. We have a couple of videos on this where my answer I'm going to give you is not going to be as thorough as those videos. That's why I mentioned that. So I think we have a couple of recent ones on hip turn and weight shift. We have a couple of ones in the past couple months. So if you search my name and weight shift and hip turn and stuff like that, you'll see a bunch of my thoughts. In essence, it really depends on where you're coming from. If you're someone who, so like the answer is you shift and are turning basically simultaneously. That's the simple answer. You're shifting and turning simultaneously. If I'm throwing a ball, what am I doing? I'm shifting and turning simultaneously. Probably a little bit more of a shift before a lot of the turn kicks in. Same thing if I'm batting, right? I'm shifting and turning simultaneously, but there's really a little bit more of the fall to the left or a little bit more of the shifting kind of right before your turn. So for most of you guys, it's going to feel simultaneous. We dropped a video not long ago where I literally went through at like each spot where your body should be. So that video is active. If you want the detail, depending upon where you're coming from. If you're someone who normally shifts pressure too far forward too soon, then you should feel like you're kind of purely rotating. If you're someone who stays back and purely rotates, you need to feel like you shift more forward soon. So that really depends on where you're coming from.
Joey D wants to know, what is the main cause of too much right to left spin? I hit shots that start on line or just right, but curve too much to the left.
So what are the main culprits in terms of too much right to left spin? There's two main factors involved with you hooking the ball too much. One is your club face being too closed to the path, and two is your path being too far right, and or some combination of that. And there could be multiple reasons why that could happen. That could be your grip is too strong. That could be your swing direction is just too far to the right. Your ball position could be too far back. There could be a lot of things. What I would do usually with someone who overhooks the ball, unless you have a glaring club face problem, like it's super duper shut, I would change the path part first, and then I would do the club face second. So I would change the path a couple different ways. One option would be I would take a alignment rod and I pop it in front of you. This is something I do myself because I
Just talked about this.
hit hook. So I used to put an idea, which one was. I would put a noodle in front like this in front of me. And I would learn how to get the club. This is a little aggressive. I would learn how to get the club to work underneath this to the left instead of to the right. So I hit hook. And I would start low and gradually kind of build that up into full swings. That would be one option. Or I would take this and put it behind you. We did a video called How to Fix Your Hook, which goes over this. And I put it back here, and I make sure I would stay on top of that. And some of this will be exaggerated. I'll do something like this and just kind of feel like the club stays out in front of you a little bit more and learn how to hit more cuts with that. If you have a path problem, you can do some minor things like that that are less aggressive with, an object in your way or bumping or whatever. So I would do that, fix the path first, watch that fix your hook video, and unless your grip is so like ridiculously strong or the face is so shut, then I would go that route.
I love this. Are you really okay with a cup left wrist and a very strong grip?
Am I really okay with a cup left wrist and a very strong grip? Absolutely. Yeah, several really good players that I've worked with in person and that I've seen play who have that alignment who are very good. Yes. I wouldn't prefer it, like I would just Christian.
Yeah.
I would prefer a pretty flat wrist with a neutral grip. But if you're super strong and cup, so long as you're still neutral, right? So long as you're about here, you can definitely play golf like that. Absolutely.
Good. Nick says, I read greens really well if they only slope one direction, but as soon as there are multiple slopes in different directions, I lose my mind. Any pointers on multi-break reads?
Yeah, I think when you have multi-break reads and you're a long putt, you should do that. There's some things, we did an aim point clinic this year. I have a lot of friends who teach aim point. There's some things like that with green reading you can do that I think would help be more specific, but especially when you get multiple, I'd rather you be athletic with it, use your eyes, use your feet to feel slope. But if I got multiple breaks, you're using your eyes and you're trying to be athletic with it, I wouldn't, in that scenario, get so bogged down in where exactly do I hit it. Also, when you have multiple breaks, usually you're farther from the hole, and the farther you get from the hole, the more the speed is more important, less of the break. So if I'm like 30 plus feet, I'm getting a general idea of break because I want to get it close, like ballpark, but I'm really focusing on the speed control at that part. That's how I would do it.
Samuel wants to know, do you have any advice for seniors getting more power in their strike?
Seniors getting more power, yes. So there's different ways to go about doing it. If you want to hit the ball farther, especially if we're talking with your driver, then we're looking at either increasing club head speed would be one option. Increasing angle of attack would be another option. The older you get and the slower your swing speed gets, the more and more it is important, if you want to hit it farther, to hit more up and get the angle of attack up with the driver, to launch the ball a little bit higher, lower the spin rate down. So that would be part number one. You can do, if you want to increase club head speed, things like a super speed golf set, right? So like those little weighted clubs that I'm doing myself now, that's an awesome option with that. I would look and say, hey, do you have a full turn going back? Do you have a full turn going through? There's different ways to go about doing it, but what you should do as a senior to me would be nothing different than I would do with anyone in terms of creating speed. Any of the videos that we've created in terms of how to create speed or hit the ball farther would apply to you as well. Pressure in the feet, getting big turns, making sure you have extension on both sides, right? The main body motion that would create speed would be the same. You can supplement it with a super speed set as well.
sort of related from Manny. It says, my hips are quite stiff and I can't quite separate my lower body from the upper body, working on my flexibility, but do you have any tips on how I could accommodate my swing in the meantime?
Yeah, so if you can't kind of turn as much, right, or like, hey, I really have a hard time getting open and getting rotation, that's okay, but you have to match pieces to it. The less you rotate, so the less you're going to open. Remember rotating, right? The main function of that is speed, etc. But it moves your low point more forward, right? So if I can't move my low point more forward through turn, you can do it through shift. Okay. Now, what does that mean? That means your lower body's going to shift forward. It means you're going to tilt back. That means you're going to probably be forced to play certain patterns with that. What I would do with that is go more Tom Lehman style, move the ball back in my stance, allow myself to shift, kick my swing direction out to the right, and play like a flip hook thing. And you could shoot like in the 60s doing that. It's not incorrect. It's not optimal or ideal maybe, but if you can't turn as much, there's nothing wrong with it. You going more ball back here, getting a little bit more lateral, shifting your swing direction a little bit more out to the right, and playing a flip hook. You're going to maybe get some pushes, hooks, fats, and thins with that, but you could also jack your speed up when you do that. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Do you recommend a trigger to get the swing started, like Henrik Stenson's forward press?
Yeah, that's a good question. I recommend a trigger to get the swing started. Sure, there's no single trigger that I would recommend. I would say a couple of things. When you're doing your pre-shot routine, you want to be moving as much as possible. So I'm coming in here, notice I put the club down, my feet are moving, I'm looking, my feet are moving, club waggle, feet are moving, club waggle, and then I go. For me, that's what I built in. I used to just watch Tiger. I tried to mimic his routine. I added one more look. But I saw him go back here, walk up, on the side of the ball, club, feet, waggle, look, waggle, look. And then I go ahead and do my swing. Some guys like to do something like, I like just a feet movement. Keep the feet moving, 1 or 2 waggles, and then set and go. If you, from there like that, like Henrik does that big shift, you can do that. Some guys like a little press into the right foot to start, press into the left foot to start. Definitely like a trigger. Which one, I don't really care. Find something, obviously, that we can find something that works for you, but definitely like a trigger. Don't want you to be stagnant over the ball.
David's asking, can you talk about rear foot roll?
Yeah, we just did a video. David asked about rear foot roll. We just did a video today on that, actually. So in like a week or so from now, you'll see a video come out on 3 drills to fix your leg work, which is about the right foot. Did a couple different drills. One of them, obviously the roll, the simple version is just your right foot, your right ankle, to feel like that rolls in this way as you go. What I talked about there was the idea that I heard from Chris Como a while back, that I know George Yankees talks a lot about now, of pushing the ground clockwise, right? He was talking about, Como was talking about doing a punch. He said, hey, your right foot really should torque the ground this way, it should rotate counterclockwise. And when you do it, it keeps your quad in external rotation. The point being from there, it's really easy to bank and push off of that right leg and start to extend forward there and get some power. So for me, I really like that feel as one of them. Feeling like if my foot wasn't on the ground, it would actually go off of this. Kind of a rotation counterclockwise to create speed. I really like that a lot. And I see some speed jumps when I do that. If you watch that video next week, you'll see I got some different drills with the noodle and some other drills and feels like that. But that's one key feel you can do.
We haven't mentioned about the 7-day free trial. I don't know if you want to say anything about that. Okay. How do you adjust to chipping from a tight or bare lie?
Chipping from a tight or bare lie. So there's a couple different ways to do this. One would be you can move the ball back, right? To ensure solid contact, have the handle more forward, and play that little low kind of checker style. There's just no margin of error there, so you have to hit it perfect. That'd be one option. 2 would be you can take your setup, get closer to the ball, and raise the handle so the heel of the club is actually like off the ground to look like that. So I'll stand taller, get the handle more, have the ball more middle, and I'll kind of actually get the heel off the ground and feel like I thud the ground a little bit with the toe of the club. And that'll provide that kind of function. Because a lot of times when you hit it fat, the heel did, right? So if you raise the handle up, it takes the heel off. That'd be one option. Or you can use the bounce a little bit more, open the face, and create some thud. But again, with these, when you have a tight body, like you have to be precise. There's no easy way around that. Or putt, or bump and run when in doubt.
So Paul's asking your thoughts on super stroke or larger putter grips to make my putting stroke less handsy. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so Paul asked about super stroke or larger putter grips for less handy. Yeah, in theory, that's fine. I haven't read enough or seen enough research to like say yes for sure that happens or no it does not. I think it's a nice thought that with a bigger grip you have less hand motion. I'm not 100% sold that less hand motion is necessarily better. I think it sounds good on paper, like, oh, if I have less hand motion, I'm going to putt better. I don't know if that's actually true or not. But in theory, on paper, bigger grip, less hand-arm motion, better club face control. Yeah, but I'm not overly sold on that either way. I've had big grips before. Some people use it and it makes their putting a lot better. That's cool. I think it's a person-by-person situation.
So Jeff asked, related, do you recommend getting fitted for a putter?
Jeff asked, do I recommend getting fitted for a putter? Absolutely. Putter fitting seems to be the thing that people do the least. I don't ever get fit for clubs because I don't even have my own damn clubs in there. But I'm going to go get fit for a driver. But one of the things, if I could go back and do it again, is when I first started playing, I would have got fit for a putter right away. People don't get fit for putting, and they 100% should. Should probably be the first, maybe that, and there's Chris, maybe that and driver would be maybe the first ones I would do.
Eric, shoulders get steep in the downswing. Any drill or feel to keep shoulder plane? Thanks.
Shoulders get steep during the downswing, so this way. Any drill to get rid of that? Yes. So if your shoulders get steep, and again, steep maybe is bad, maybe not, right? Depends on what you do along with it. But if I get too steep, that would be here like this. So my left shoulder goes too high. So what's the opposite of too high? Too low, right? So one feel would be if I normally go this way, I can feel like my left shoulder from here goes more down and around. So from this side, if I normally go too up, I can feel like my left shoulder goes more down and around. Normally, if I tilt too much, it means my right shoulder is too low. What's the opposite of low? High. So I can feel like when I come down, my right shoulder stays higher. When I come through, my shoulder equal level. So feel like your left shoulder goes lower and around, or your right shoulder stays higher. Just feel the opposite of what you're currently doing.
Michael's asking your thoughts on super speed golf since you've been using it.
Yeah, Michael. So my thoughts on super speed golf. I love it. So I did it when it first came out, and I've had a couple of students do it. Some of you guys don't know what super speed golf is. Do we have a link for this yet or no? To put in the
I will put it in the description. Yes, we do.
Okay, so there'll be a link in the description if you guys want to check these out. These things from Super Speed Golf. I used to do the speed training from a guy named Tom House. Some of you guys might know who he is. He's like a speed dude, like for pitching I saw. And he used to do this over-under training, it's called. Use a lighter. So if you're using a baseball, whatever, use a lighter object than normal, the normal object, and a heavier object. And there's a series of things you did to create speed. And I did it, and it worked really, really well. And I did it with some different players. And then these speeds, Super Speed came out. They give you a light, a medium, and a heavy. And there's another one for juniors and for women. Another set. So I use these, and you do them right-handed and left-handed, and you do steps with them, and they're really, really awesome. So I love these. We'll put a link in the description if you want to check them out. With the people that I did the Tom House training with, which is pretty close to this, I would a lot of times see several miles an hour of gain in a short period of time, which to scale that could be like 10, 15, 20 yards on your driver. So I really like these. It takes me 5 minutes to do, and I do it like 3 times a week now. I'm doing this for 30 days. So I'll actually be able to report back. I'm not going to tell you my club head was when I started because it was lower than I wanted to be. But on March 11th, I'll do the fitting. We'll see what it is. I think I'm going to go up like 10 miles an hour. So we'll see.
Trying to get forward shaft lean, great contact, but overdrawing and hooking. Any fixes?
Let me do this, and then I'm going to do that. I'm going to just reiterate, like, I legitimately think these super speed sets, if you guys got these and spent 5 minutes with them, like twice a week for the whole entire year next year, you would probably hit the ball 10, 20, maybe more miles an hour off the tee. Training your body how to move fast is the best way to hit the ball farther. Training your body how to move fast is the best way to hit the ball farther. These super speed things would be what I would do. We'll put a link in the description afterwards. I think there's a discount of some form, free shipping or something. I'm not sure on that.
I don't know.
So we'll put a link in afterwards, but I would definitely check these out. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Trying to get forward shaft lean, great contact, but overdrawing and hooking. Any fixes?
Trying to get forward shaft lean, great contact, but I'm hooking it. So if you're hooking it and you have shaft lean, again, the things we're looking at there are club face and path. If you're hooking it, either the face gets too close to the path, that's the problem, or the path is too far to the right, one of the two, depending on where your start line is. So I would fix the path part first. I would do that by the two things that I said earlier in the video, if you don't watch that back, or we have a video called Fix Your Hook. So I did 2 little drills there before. I would do that to fix your path first. Or the Fix Your Hook video, there's 3 different drills in there that I do all the time to fix your hook. You should be able to get rid of a hook really easily, right? So if you can't do that, do an online lesson, take a lesson, do something, because I can get rid of a hook really, really, really fast. Could be just ball position, could be aim, could be path, whatever, but I would do those drills first as a checkpoint.
Steve says, I have trouble finding a repeatable, consistent low spot on my iron shots, resulting in fat shots. Do you think not putting any weight on my trail foot would help with the low point inconsistency?
Steve-O, problems with low point. Do I think putting no weight on your right would help? Yeah, as a drill, but you can't really golf that way. So what I would say is if you're having low point issues, I'm really looking at 3 main things. 2 of them have to do with your body. Number 1, are you turning enough in the follow through, yes or no? Are you shifting enough forward, yes or no? And is your arm structure good enough? We did a video in the beginning of this past year on, I think it was why you're topping the ball or something like that. And I went over those couple of main pieces. If I have someone come in and they have problems with topping or fat shots, I can almost guarantee they don't turn enough, meaning when you get done, are you fully turned towards the target? They don't shift enough, meaning they're not forward, they're back here, and or they have arm structure and wrist structure problems. So I would look at those to improve one of those 3 areas. Again, if I could see you swing, I could fix that pretty quickly, but I would look at those areas.
Kevin's saying, do you feel like you whip the club head through impact, or do you feel more control through impact?
Kevin, do I feel like Kevin? Do I feel like I whip the club head through impact with more control? Very individual. I don't feel like I whip the club. I don't feel like my arms and hands are doing much right now at all. For me right now, I feel like I'm extending my trail leg and I'm opening my body. That's for me. Some people that I have, if their club face is too open, I might have them feeling like they're flipping a little bit. Some people I might have feeling like they're bowing it. Some people I might feel like they're throwing it. So I got people feeling all kinds of stuff. I would say trying to whip it through impact, probably not the best, maybe with driver, but no, probably not.
How do you hit a lower punch shot after missing the fairway? I always hit that shot fat.
How do you hit a lower punch out without missing the fairway? I always hit that fat. I'm going to not answer that again because we did that earlier in the video. So when we're done, I don't mean to be like a dick with that. I'm saying like I want to move on to the other questions. I answered earlier in the thing, if you watch this back, how to hit a lower punch shot or how to hit a stinger. It's the same thing. So ball more back, lower dynamic loft, hit more down on it. If you hit it fat, make sure you're still turning enough when you do that. A lot of times when you hit a punch shot, we hit back and we just stop. I would make sure your body's still turning when you go through and watch that back. If you can't figure it out based on those, send me another message and I'll help you out. But if you watch that, I think that'll help you.
Andy's asking, what do you think of the hanger training device?
Andy, so what do I think of the hanger training device? I like it a lot. So I like the hanger training device. I like one of these, right? I like these torch striker wrist educator that Martin Chuck sent me. Also as option, I don't care what you guys get. You guys want to get a hanger? Get a hanger. You guys want to get one of these from your closet for free? Get one of these. You guys want to get one of these torch strikers, spend some money, get one of these? I don't care. I like a hanger like this. Goes on the side of the club. Boom, 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 boom. But now the thing with this is you got to put on the side of the club, or somebody's going to feel weird in the beginning. The thing with the hanger is it doesn't feel weird in the grip. It just goes in the end. So yeah, I like it. If you want to train wrist conditions, I like it a lot. I don't have a link in the description for that one. That one you got to go search.
Or go buy a hanger. Mark's asking, can you show us some tips on right leg stability, please?
Tips on right leg stability. Yeah, we're gonna have that video coming out on ways to fix your leg work during your downswing, mostly about a week or so. Right leg depends on if you're talking about backswing or downswing. If we're talking about backswing, I want my right leg to straighten some when I go back, not lock straight, but some amount of straightening. I want, if there's a wall here, my right hip to turn pretty close to it, create just barely a little bit of space. During transition, I want my right leg to reflex to about here. Once I hit here, then I'm turning my quad and straightening my leg into my follow through. Those are the main pieces I would see in good ball striking. What you should do or feel depends on which part of that area you're missing, and then I can explain better from there.
What about hovering the club before the shot?
Hovering the club before the shot, perfectly cool with that. Know some guys that teach that and some guys that feel that. Do I think that's a magical solution? Absolutely not. Do I think that it's okay if you hold the club over it and you feel the weight of the club? That's fine. When I do that, I hit it thin. I've only done that a couple times. I hit it thin. I said, nope, not doing that. I'm going to go back to the way that I hit it good. But no problem with that if you want to do that.
Bruce said, he's just saying, I'd love to hear about your experience club champion after you go. I live in the Philly burbs.
Yeah, Bruce, what's up, man? Yeah, we'll do a vlog or something on the club champion. We were throwing around the idea of doing a day where like we did it this kind of day for some of you guys to come down and us just like hang out for the day and us all get fit and just do a day of it. So if you guys have any interest in that at club champion or something like that, or you guys want to do a day where I would be there, get a fitting, you guys get a fitting, we'll chat, hang out, and maybe record and do a video. Leave a comment down below. We can maybe hook that up at some point in time too. But I'll let you know. We'll do a video on that, how that goes down there. I've been down there a couple times to watch them fit my guys, and they always did really good. So I think it'll be cool.
Solid Fox 82. Been casting the club lately. Been using the downswing pump drill at range tonight with some success. What's your thinking on the drill?
So having some issues with the downswing cast, and it has been using a pump drill. Yeah, I think that's fine. If that gets you, and any drill, I'm gonna get close in a minute here. Any drill or any feel that accomplishes your desired end goal is okay. If it accomplishes what you're trying to accomplish and you confirm that with feedback, then that's okay. How could someone say a pump drill's wrong if it gets you from going from here to here? Okay. Now, can you do that? Could you overdo a pump drill? Yeah, you could overdo any drill, right? So anything goes. I would say if you normally have a problem casting, I would want to know why that happens. Is your club face too open and you're casting to square it? Are you too steep during your downswing and you're casting to shallow it? Do you not have enough body rotation? You're casting to get to the ball. Are your arms too deep and you're casting to get back in front? So I'd have to see your actual swing to say why you're casting. If you want to get rid of a cast permanently, you have to figure out what the root cause of it is. Usually it's one of those four things I just mentioned, with an open club face being the overwhelming majority of that.
Our buddy Dollar Bill Clinton is saying he's admiring your wardrobe choices lately. He's impressed with the wardrobe. He said you're still the best on YouTube, and tell him I said hi because he said hi to me. So.
Dollar Bill Clinton, what's up, man? Thank you. I think I'm looking good too. Looking for some new clothing. And Mary says hi as well.
And he was asking about 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 yard shots. I don't know what he's asking, so he has to elaborate on his question.
Dollar Bill Clinton, say what do you want to know about 40, 50, 60? We'll talk about it.
Jeff is asking, how important is it to keep your iron grooves free of dirt?
Jeff, how important is it to keep your iron grooves free of dirt? Very important, especially if you have any inclination of like spinning the ball fairly well and having good distance control. When I hit a ball, like this is bad because we're hitting range balls, I'm not cleaning, but when I'm outside, normally I hit a shot, I clean them every single time. I just use a little tea or a brush, I had something to spit on it or have a little water on the towel and clean them off. For sure important for spin rates and distance control. And it takes like 30 seconds to do.
Someone's asking, does the rotation product that we're going to release supplement the membership site, or is it the same information?
Does the rotation product supplement the membership site? Is the same information? It supplements it. So a couple things with that. In probably a month, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, we're like a week or two behind the rotation product when we thought we'd launch it. But we put together a rotation masterclass. It's like the shallow downswing masterclass. The purpose of it is to organize the information, all these videos, in a step-by-step process that you can follow to actually do it. All the best drills I have, etc. The cool thing we're going to do with this rotation thing is I'm also going to include a class with that with coaching. So we'll probably do that with a Facebook group where if you sign up for it, you get into, there's going to be a second layer. It's going to cost more. Okay. And you get into a second layer and you get 4 weeks of coaching where you can actually post your swing so I can see them. And then I'm going to do weekly sessions where we're going to talk, because I think the product itself is going to help a ton. But the product, with me being able to see your swing or ask questions about it as we go, is going to help even more, because you guys know if I could see your swing. So that'll probably launch in the middle of next month. That will supplement the membership. If you are a member of CogornoGolf.com, you get that product for free. You don't have to pay for it. So it's one of the benefits of the membership. And we're still offering a 7-day free trial. So if there's 70 people on here right now, there's a free 7-day trial to CogornoGolf.com. If you don't like it, just cancel after 7 days, and you don't have to pay anything. So to me, all 70 of you should sign up for a free trial. You have nothing to lose. You get in the Facebook group. You can post your swing. I can give you feedback. It costs $39 a month. $39 a month. I'm going to charge $200 this year per hour for in-person lessons. $200 for one lesson, 1 hour. For $39, you get feedback with me all the time. So I think that's a no-brainer. I don't know how else to change it, but yeah, that's the answer to that.
Let's go just discussion. Jeff's asking, any more majors for Tiger?
Jeff, any more majors for Tiger? Yeah, I posted something on Instagram the other day. I think Tiger wins one major this year, and I'd love it to be at Augusta. I think his swing mechanics now, if you actually watch what he's doing, are beautiful. In the years past, not only did he have the off the course stuff, but his swing was a little jacked up and he was stuck underneath. His swing's back. His putting's not back, but his short game's getting better. So I think he's back here better. Never going to be the same, but good enough where I think he could win one. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what you guys think if he's going to win one or not. I hope he gets a lot more.
Ryan's saying, I struggle getting the club behind me and having that really shallow sweeping motion to the ball.
Yeah.
Also, is this the same swing for less than 100-yard pitches?
So Ryan struggles with getting the club too far behind him and sweeping inside. What I would do if I were you, Ryan, is take a ball, and this is your ball target line. And I would put a noodle or an object similar to this, and learn you're going to start with chip shots. So, and learn to keep the club out in front of you. How should you set the noodle? If you watch our video, how to fix your hook for good, you'll see how to set this up. I put this in front of you, and just start small and learn how to get the club higher and more in front of you with a better impression. It's going to feel like the club that's way out and over the top in front of you compared to normal. It is the same thing. It's actually more necessary for chips and pitches that the club gets up in front. If you get the club too far behind you and low to the ground with chips and pitches, way too many fats and thins. With full swing, you probably get fats, thins, pushes, hooks, maybe heel and toe contact with that as well, depending upon what you do with it.
So Mickey, that's part, just say Mickey, how many ounces of water do you drink a day?
Mickey, I drink 1 gallon of water for the gains every day, or I try to. Mary's breathing deep back there. So that's 128 fluid ounces per day I do. Yes, next question. That's a lot of water.
Andy's asking, what's your best tip on shallowing the club on the downswing? Andy,
best tip on shallowing the club. Lots of tips.
Yeah.
I would make sure you're set up in backswing or in a position to shallow it. I got a million different drills. We have a shallow your downswing masterclass going to cost you $47. That would run you through exactly what I think about everything. We'll put the link in the description down below on that. I don't really care if you buy that 47. I don't need the $47, but it'll give you a full explanation much more than I can do in 2 minutes. Or watch, you just Google, search my name and shallow your downswing on YouTube, and you can see a whole bunch of videos for free on some things that I would do for that. Practice stations.
Everybody's playing in bad conditions because Matthew's saying, what's your best tip for playing wet, muddy lies?
Yeah, wet, muddy lies is like, it just sucks, you know? Like, what do you do when it's raining outside? It's shitty. It's just shitty, you know? Like, do I have good tips to make it less shitty when it's raining? Kind of, but it's still shitty. So if you're playing when it's wet and it's muddy, it's shitty. Like, you have to hit the ball perfect. And if you don't, you're going to hit some bad shots. If you watch a PGA Tour event when it's really wet, you'll see some weird shots go on. So you have to ensure ball first contact. What can you do different than normal? You know, maybe you can take one more club than normal, move the ball back a little. You know, can you do some things? Like when you do have a bunker, right? A fairway bunker. Can you move the ball a little back, grip down, get a little closer to the ball, and probably take 3/4 swings? That's what I would do if I wanted to really clip it perfect. If I normally hit an 8-iron, I'd take a 7, move the ball back an inch, grip down an inch. Maybe go about 60-40 and only swing at 3/4 length and just work on getting the ball in the middle of the greens.
Matt's asking if you're playing any tournaments or mini tour qualifiers this coming summer.
Matt, am I playing any tournaments or mini tour qualifying? No, I'm playing no tournaments. I played like 4 or 5 rounds of golf last year, maybe total. Believe it or not, this whole YouTube deal and teaching lessons and et cetera, takes a lot of time. So
plus you'd have to practice putting.
Yeah, I listen, I say it all the time, like I don't have time to. The reality is I don't make time. I don't make time to play. I enjoy this. I enjoy hanging out with you guys and coaching. So, you know, if I play a couple times a year, I can still get it around even par. Sometimes a couple under, sometimes a couple over, and that's good enough for me. I would have to practice my short game a lot more to get my feel back to playing tournaments, and I just don't want to do it enough to spend that kind of time where I could spend it in other areas. So, plus if I wanted to go play on a mini tour thing, I get pummeled. Right, that's the reality of it. I can go shoot around par. Yeah, I might shoot a couple 68, 67 at Bethel Muni, but if I'm going out on a real track with where my game's at right now in Rusty, I'm getting pummeled. Like I get a lot of kids that would pummel me, you know.
Dave's asking, do you ever use the leading edge for chipping or always the bounce, even for low shots?
Do I ever use the leading edge for chipping or do I always use the bounce? No, I do use leading edge. I use the bounce as much as possible. Oftentimes, I'll use the leading edge only when I want to hit a lower than normal trajectory. Usually that'll be if I have a far distance or I have a pin in the back and I'm in the front, or I have a lot of green to work with and I don't want to fly the ball as far, then I wouldn't use the bounce as much. I could still, but I would probably put the ball on my back and play a little low and running shot, which will be more leading edge. We just have to clip that perfect. Or I'd take more club, like a pitching wedge 9-iron, and hit a bump and run with that. So I don't use it on all shots, but any shot where I'm going medium trajectory or higher, and or I have less distance or less green to work with, then for sure use the bounce.
Jeff wants to know your driver carry.
Jeff, my driver carry right now, honestly, because we did our speed thing last time, probably like 260 to 265 in the air, and then with normal rolling them outside, it's probably like 285, 290. Mid-season last year, we were doing our speed stuff. I was actually swinging. My club speed was getting like 115, 117, 119. I had a couple of them. So that's where I'm looking to get back to with my super speed set. When I do that, like if I do that and I can get my club head speed when I'm going after it more in the 115 range, then I can carry it like 280, 285, hit it 300, 305, 310. That's like what I feel like my normal is. But I also just turned 30 and I don't know, man. But that's where my normal, I'd like to say, carry a 280, hit it around 300, 305 type of deal. But probably 260.
What would you consider being too deep in the backswing?
Too deep in the backswing, the front by the butt of the club. To me, it depends on what club you're using as well. So it depends on the club I'm using. But I don't like to see the butt of the club even get too far behind the heel. So if I were to put this line up on the heel line, I see good play to get the butt of the club in line with the middle of the foot, back the middle, and then the deep that's probably at the heel line. Maybe some guys get a little bit behind the heel, especially with like a Bryson DeChambeau with the driver deep back here like this. I don't want to see it too far behind the heel line. The problem is if you get that deep going back, you got to really open up enough to get it back in front. And some guys, a better player could probably do that, but some guys, that's a lot of work.
Somebody's asking, can you advise on how to improve on lag tension?
How to improve on lag tension. So, I think trying to get lag, I think my lag tension would be maybe like this here. Trying to get that angle, hold that angle, a lot of times I think causes as much problem as it helps. If you're someone who doesn't have enough lag or this angle here and you throw early, I would really look at what you're doing in order earlier to do that. Is your club face too open? Are you too steep? Do you need to get that by pivoting better? Most really good players that I see who have good lag angles, right, who take that in impact, do that naturally. That's a natural motion that they create. They're not doing that on purpose. That's not to say you can't train it in on purpose, but I think there's as many problems that could come with that as are benefits. I don't know that I would go down that route. It's a shitty answer, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Are you familiar with Manzoni's lost fundamental where he advocates little or no weight shift to the right in the backswing? Thoughts?
Manzoni,
M-A-N-Z-O-N-I?
Manzoni's lost fundamentals. Never heard of that. No, what was it? He's recommending
advocates little or no weight shift to the right on the backswing. Thoughts?
It'd be a little more like a stack and tilt type of model where you have to keep more pressure forward. Cool with that, especially with shorter irons. I think as the clubs get longer, sometimes it's your dynamic loft is going to be too low, so it's sometimes harder with that. Can you stay more forward, pivot more forward, and push up out of that and play really good golf? Absolutely. I think I see most players get a little bit more, to me, athletic, which is a little bit more of a pressure shift with the turn, a little bit more of a pressure shift with the turn is what I would prefer. But I've seen people kind of hang left, so that's okay. I've never heard of that specific method though. We got like 2 minutes, so if you guys have any like important stuff.
We got 2 more questions. So
okay.
What's a good drill for making those long bacon strip type divots? Is it basically just making sure you have a shallow downswing, or are there other suggestions?
Best drill for bacon strip long divots. Is it about shallow downswing? I was just, yeah, it is about shallow downswing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about getting the club head. If I get the club head to work underneath this, like if I were to put opposite of hook drill, if I'm slicing too much, and I got something like this, if I got something like this, and I'm working the club underneath this, and I can get the club head working inside here, underneath and above the ground, I'm gonna have a more of a shallow type divot, no matter what. Get very club working up and down. So some other things you can do with like even just noodle. Right, you're putting an object in front of you. So if I have a ball here, and I'm saying this way, and I put this in front of me like here, and I had to clip that ball off the turf. If I had to clip that ball off the turf and miss that noodle, and see how I have to jump up and out of here as I turn. That's another thing that can get your more shallow. That was the driver too. I would say that stick behind you, get it working shallow inside, or object in front of you that you got to pull the hands up and left. You know, from down in here, you're really pulling the hands up and to the left as you rotate, extend out of it.
I'm going to compliment the final question. Brian says he was a flipper. He started following the shallow, the downswing. Yardage has improved and left miss has so improved. Cheers.
Awesome. That was Brian?
Brian.
Brian was a flipper, followed the shallow downswing, and the distance and the left miss have improved. That's awesome. I believe in that shallow downswing, man. If we're going to put a product out like that, and the rotation product in the Cogorno Golf, I would never suggest that you guys do something unless I 100% believe it's going to help you. Those of you who need to learn how to shallow your downswing should look at that program. It's $47. And the rotation product we're going to do, and I would supplement if I was me, getting money, and I had $100 to spend. I would supplement that with an online swing lesson or a membership to ensure what I'm doing. If you feel like you know what you're doing, then get the heck out of there after a month or 2 or 3. It's still less than a $200 one lesson. So it just, I say that all the time, like these programs that I'm saying, these products that I'm suggesting, that super speed golf, it's because I actually do it and it works and I believe in it. Same thing with all those products, same thing with no online swing analysis. I don't know the last time I did an online swing analysis with someone where the feedback wasn't like, oh my gosh, this was excellent feedback. I'm really getting great results. Like that's, I don't publish that all the time because quite frankly, I don't have a ton of time now to spare to do a lot more, but those things would help expedite your process a lot. So thank you for saying that. And any of these things that we suggest, I do genuinely think that they will help a lot.
6 o'clock. You want one more question or are we
Last
out?
question.
Okay, last question. Glenn, I used some foot powder today, but I could not hit the ball high on the wedge face. Am I supposed to? This was off a mat.
Wedge face, are you supposed to off a mat? No. Hitting the ball a little bit lower on the wedge is perfectly fine, especially because it'll increase the spin. Usually if you hit it lower on the face, though, the launch will be a little bit lower, but the spin rate will be a little bit higher. That's perfectly fine. On a mat, sometimes the ball can actually lift off it a little bit. A lot of times you'll hit it a little bit higher on the club face than normal, but you absolutely don't have to. Where you're looking to hit your irons, and if you're looking to hit your wedges, you actually want to be at the middle or a little bit lower than the middle. You can see all the range balls I've been hitting, but you want to be a little bit lower than the middle. Is perfectly fine with a wedge.
Cool.
So that's it, guys. Thank you again. This was fun. Episode 4, Mondays at 5 o'clock. We're going to keep doing this. If you guys have questions, want to come hang out, we'll be inside here probably for another month, maybe 2 months. And then I want to do these live actually outside on the range next year where I could hit more balls, have the TrackMan up, answer some questions. So, as always, if you guys have any questions, just leave a comment down below. Hope you guys had fun. If you have any suggestions moving forward, just drop a comment down below. All right, guys. See you later.